Good morning, Crystal Palace, and welcome to the library lunch. It's not really the morning, is it? It's 12 o'clock, so therefore it's the afternoon, but still, welcome. My name's Galina Rin. I am here in the new studio at the library. Is it the green room? Is it Studio One? Don't know, haven't named it yet. It's very green. It's got a nice green screen wall here, which I have made orange with our fancy stage lights, as you can see. And that's about all there is to say about that for right now. We'll come back onto this subject at the end, for sure. Welcome our guest today, Joseph Lindoe. How you doing, Joseph?
Not too bad, thank you. Not too bad at all yourself.
I am good, thank you. Are we calling you Joseph or are we calling you Joe?
Joe's fine. The only reason I use Joseph is because Joe Lindoe sounds like a country and western singer.
I like that though. I think that's good. Joe Lindoe. Oh yeah, that's good. Anyway, tell the folks at Crystal Palace who you are and what you do.
So I'm Joe. I'm an actor and voiceover artist, and I am one half of JLA Productions, which was a theatre company that I set up with my friend and colleague Luke Adamson. Basically because we wanted to make theatre and we found out we were good at making theatre together, so we started doing it in a more organised fashion. The reason that I'm sort of here today is and why you guys know me is because we started working with the Library Hub to sort of try and help bring a program of theatre to you guys and to Crystal Palace, and try and establish a bit more sort of fringe style theatre in Crystal Palace in the area.
Amazing. So what were you doing before? Because you're an actor as well and performer.
Yes.
And such.
So I trained as an actor, which is I graduated from ALRA, the Academy of Live and Recorded Arts, which is where I met Luke. So I trained as an actor, graduated from drama school way back in 2011 now. So I mean, I always involved in acting. I was involved in acting in some way from quite a young age, from about 10 or 11. Found that it was just a socially acceptable way of demanding being the center of attention, and so kind of got involved in that and thoroughly enjoyed it, and decided I wanted to try and make a career out of it. And so I did try, and I still am trying. So I trained as an actor, graduated from drama school, and as part of sort of the acting industry and the theatre industry and the performance industry in general, decided to try and make my own work, because it's one of the best ways to try and at least keep busy, keep making work and feeling creative, and trying to create opportunities for yourself and for other people.
So you've got a show coming. We've got Croydon Live, but we've also got another show of yours, right? That's coming in December.
Yes, hopefully December. Fingers crossed. So we've got Croydon Live, which is a project that it was originally instigated by you guys, and you sort of brought us on board to try and help make it happen. Which we could talk in a bit more detail about in a bit. But we've also got this show, Oh No It Isn't, which we're hoping to do in December. All things willing, with the various things like coronavirus and all that sort of stuff. Then in December, in the run up to Christmas, we will have hopefully Oh No It Isn't, which is a kind of alternative panto. I describe it as it's a not panto. Basically, it was written by Luke, the other half of JLA, and originally went on tour and did a national tour last year to a series of sort of small to medium-sized regional venues. Went to York Theatre Royal, did a couple of days there, it was really cool. Went to the Acorn in Penzance. We went to Treybar Gardens in Cornwall. Went all over the country, basically, and we wanted to do it again. And this seemed like a really good opportunity. It is a kind of bittersweet love letter to the industry, and is centered around two actors who play the ugly sisters in a regional theatre production of panto production of Cinderella. And the action all takes place pretty much all backstage, with occasional bits of stuff interspliced from the onstage. And we see it's the last night of the show. Tensions have run high. They've been working together for 2-3 months, and there's a lot of stories. They're all a lot of true stories that Luke experienced in his years working on panto when he was younger, and it's sort of about industry stories and personal stories, and how their relationship off stage affects on stage and vice versa. I can't talk too much about it because it gives away a lot of the drama, but it's very, very funny. It's also really moving, particularly at the end. It's like I worked on tour with it last year, and I was laughing and crying even after almost every performance, after months of running around the country with them. So it's a really powerful, very funny, and very powerful production.
And when you say it's not like an anti-panto or whatever, I guess it's not for kids then, is it?
Oh no! It's definitely not for kids. We had one or two people who wanted to try and bring. I think we said a suggested age of 16 plus. I think that was just to cover our backs. It really depends on how mature your teenagers are. It's definitely not single digit children. Teenagers, I think, should be fine, provided that it's up to your discretion. The thing, obviously, with theatre versus like films, there aren't like PG-13 or 12A, 18. You haven't got certifications. It's a lot up to the parents. And we had a couple of things where they wanted to bring kids, and we said it's a really bad idea. You don't want to do that. And a couple of teenagers, we sort of went, there's going to be some strong language. There's going to be some adult themes. Feel free to bring them. Great. We'd love to, because also particularly, we want to, introduce young people to small scale theatres. Great. But yeah, just be aware that there's some language and some adult content as well.
Cool. So let's talk about Croydon Live. Croydon Live. What is the crack?
What is Croydon Live?
What is the crack? Yeah.
It's live and it's in Croydon, as the name suggests. So basically, it was a project developed by you guys at the Hub, at the Library Hub, and it was funded and supported by Croydon Council, and sort of arts funding from them. The aim of it was to try and bring a selection, a program of family-friendly theatre to your on-stream service. Obviously, you do all this brilliant stuff, and you've got a lot of musical stuff, and you had the All Alone Together, I think it was earlier in the year, and it was just there wasn't as much theatre stuff. So he brought us on board to try and help produce some theatre, and particularly with an angle to family-friendly theatre, because you're a library and you've got a lot of community stuff and a lot of child-friendly stuff. You do a lot of classes and stuff, so we wanted to integrate that. Basically, we wanted to make sure that was still in keeping with what you already do with families in the community, and that sort of thing. So it's 6 pieces of family-friendly theatre broadcast that will be performed hopefully live in a small COVID secure audience, COVID safe audience, and simultaneously broadcast live streamed onto your social media channels, like this one. Yes. And that'll be happening over the next sort of 3 to 4 months, I think we're looking at. It's quite flexible with that, really, and we are developing as we go. So what we're looking for really is but the important thing, the Croydon part of it is that part of the reason for it being called Croydon Live and getting the funding from the Croydon Council is to support Croydon-based artists. So all of the pieces, whether they're newly penned or they're existing pieces from companies that we are adapting and bringing in, have to be from Croydon-based writers or Croydon-based companies. That's the borough of Croydon, by the way. It doesn't have to be literally Croydon town centre. The 1 square mile of just the high street.
Not many people live there, though, do they?
Exactly. It would be a really difficult ask. So no, it's anyone who lives within the Croydon borough. So that includes places like Crystal Palace. I think does Norwood fall under that as well? I think so.
Upper Norwood does. Norwood, yeah. South Norwood does.
Yeah.
But then I think the boundary line for Lambeth is like Gypsy Hill.
Right.
But yeah, I think we're actually in Croydon. Sorry.
If you're a writer and you're not sure, check your council tax bill, see what it says. And if it says Croydon on it, you can apply. And that's basically the only limits is you need to be based in Croydon, you need to be a writer or have a company at this stage, with a family-friendly theatre production that you would like to bring to us. It is a paid project. And if it's if you bring us a piece, then we'll put it on, and we'll pay you for your time and for putting it on and all that sort of thing. And if you're a writer, we'll give you a writer's fee, and then we'll produce it ourselves, and we will find Croydon-based actors and a Croydon-based director, directors. If you want to direct it yourself, that's fine as well. That's great. If you want to take that ownership of the piece, that's really positive. Or we might find a piece that we're really excited to direct ourselves, and Luke might direct that. So yeah, he's going. And then obviously all the actors will be paid as well, all funded by Croydon Council. So that's the piece, really. That's kind of all of that. The only stipulations is that any writers or companies based in Croydon, and that any pieces are family friendly. And then also, just to clarify, that doesn't mean necessarily it doesn't have to be little children, as long as it's not sort of, oh no, it isn't level of adult material, then you're probably safe. Teenagers, young teenagers, anything that can be enjoyed by the whole family, basically.
That's cool. So we are also working with Stanley Halls and the Croydon Emerging Writers course, which is going on down there. And I was wondering, how much of a solid idea does it need to be for Croydon Live, or can someone come to you with its bare bones script, and then where is the line that you need to draw?
Personally, one of the reasons that you guys brought us on board was to help produce and to help develop the pieces. So if you've got as long as you've got something, even if it's just a fledgling of an idea, then we're happy to sit down and chat about it, brainstorm ideas, help develop the script if needs be. If you've got a fairly developed script that you just need, and or like a completely developed script and you just I really like this piece, I'm really pleased with it, but I don't feel comfortable directing, I'm not a director, that's great. We'll find a director, or we'll direct it ourselves, or whatever it may be. We'll find someone who fits the piece and fits the vision. So if that doesn't matter, don't feel like you have to go, oh, here's this thing that I did last year and it's perfect, I already know what actors I want, blah, blah, blah. That doesn't need to be the case at all. Part of our job is to help produce it, help develop it, and help bring it to life. So yeah.
Yeah, cool. Is there anything in particular that you'd like to see? So basically, I had a conversation yesterday with an actress who does TV, kids TV shows, and we were talking about subjects that would be good for children's programming and stuff, because I was trying to tie it all into the projects that we run here. So is there anything, any subjects that you personally might be interested in seeing than as a company? Because obviously you'd take on anything, really, wouldn't you?
Yeah, as a company, just bring us anything and we'll see if it's any good. It's I would say, so first of all, as a company, it's not necessarily about the subject, it's about the quality of the writing and the idea. And we don't want to limit anyone. We don't want to put in too many stipulations, because we want people to just feel to bring us whatever they're excited about. If you're excited about it, chances are we will be as well. But personally, if you ask me as Joe, not as one half of JLA or part of Croydon Live, I had an idea, because I'm not really a writer, to be honest. I'm really good at developing ideas, and Luke's a really good writer. And one of the reasons we work well together is we're very good at developing each other in that way. An idea I had last week, and I don't know where to go with it, is I really like the idea of tackling mental health as the monster under the bed. Because I think there is always something really interesting about taking a big scary subject, and making it accessible to children without playing down to them, if that makes sense. Because I think a lot of children are smarter than we give them credit for. And I think the sooner you can introduce bigger subjects, whether that's things like some people talk about, looking at global warming, or, social constructs, racism, there's all sorts of big subjects that are very current. And it's not all just about bullies and don't take drugs. So I think any big subject like that can be really interesting, and socially conscious topics made in an accessible way are a great way to introduce it. So if anyone wants to write a script based around the idea of mental health being the monster under the beds that you're scared of, and you don't know, you don't really know what to do with, and you sometimes, it sort of lurks there, it lurks there, and sometimes it creeps out, and sometimes people don't believe you when you go and run to your mum and dad and tell them there's a monster in their bed. They say there's no monster under the beds. I think there's a lot of room in there to look at that as an interesting subject. I just don't know how to write the story yet. I might beat you to it. I might get there. I might get it myself. But if you manage to beat me to finishing it, then would happy to have a look at that.
So yeah, the girl we were talking to yesterday, Hannah, she brought up mental health as one of the two subjects that she'd like to see in children's theatre and things, and the other one was politics, like, because it's everywhere, and the school dinners thing is something that directly affects the life of a child, so the politics behind all that kind of thing. But mental health was a big part in the stuff that she was saying as well. So
well, to be honest, on a slightly tangential note, one of the things that I find, one of the reasons why I think particularly Marcus Rashford has gotten so much support for his movement for the free school dinners as an example, is because that shouldn't be a political subject. It's a fairly simple thing. His children shouldn't be hungry, and he's not a political figure. So I think politics in general is a really interesting one, and taking a subject like that and kind of going, no, this isn't a political issue. We just don't want, this isn't about, right wing versus left wing, or, free market versus taxes. It's just about children not going hungry. And I'm not even a politician. I'm a footballer, and I just don't want kids to be hungry. So and I think, actually, as you say, that idea of making it accessible is often about separating out the politics, and there's something in that for children's writing, and kind of going, looking at the subjects, particularly, the sort of the pros and cons of the different ways of looking at a political matter.
Yeah. I also think that there's so much going on, obviously, with the reasons the world is upside down, that people, like kids will have to be part of it. Like their lives are being moved around by politics, more battered around, like in the perfect storm of politics and pandemic. Essentially, they're just being battered left, right, and center all over the shop.
Yeah.
So maybe it's a good time to have some stories for kids on all of those
Absolutely
subjects.
And I think a lot of people don't get involved in politics until they're able to vote, because it didn't seem relevant. It's one of the reasons why I'm an advocate for lowering the voting age, I think, because for a variety of reasons. I think it gives a wider voice. I think there's plenty of 16-year-olds who are a lot more mature than I am, and I'm 30. So and also, by the time the effects of your vote are actually seen, you're well past the age you would have been voting. So if you vote at 16 for something, you're not going to see the changes in a real way until you're 18 anyway. And I think that's an important 18, or maybe even after university, 21. So and I think if we can get kids interested and at least curious about what it's all about, and what is politics, what does it mean, how does my vote count? I once had an ex-girlfriend who, she was 30 odd, and she still didn't understand how first past the post worked, and I explained that to her and stuff like that. It was years ago. And those sorts of things that sort of explain how those different aspects of the system work and their pros and cons and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think maybe this is something that British schools kind of miss out on,
absolutely.
On the American side, where they have class presidents and they go in for voting a lot earlier. Like we didn't do anything like that until university, and we were going for like student union reps and stuff like that.
One of the reasons I think that is, and I think that a lot of people shy away from it when you're younger, particularly, and teaching it in schools, is you have to have a curriculum, wouldn't you? And that curriculum is going to be set by the government of the time. To some degree, obviously, there's going to be some neutral parties involved and civil servants, that sort of thing. But it's dangerous to go, okay, we're going to be teaching people about politics, and we're going to be basing it on a curriculum, and that curriculum is going to be decided by politicians. So are they? I think there's a lot of people wary about that. And if you depending on the area you go to school in, the people you school with, and I think a lot of people are worried about their kids being, you hear it all the time. You hear it for things that shouldn't be an issue, like teaching about gay marriage and stuff like that, and that sort of thing. And people are scared to go, oh, I don't know when kids go. Imagine that, but being actual political, so you'd have to approach it in a very neutral way, without, and not allow as a teacher or as a a curriculum setter or as an institution to colour the way in which you teach the politics. And that is a very, very difficult thing to do. Again, one of the reasons why I think theatre and what you can take it out of the world and make it about telling a story, and make it separate from the actual issues of left wing, right wing, and the choices and the policies that influence that. I think that's another reason why it's a really good medium to try and approach kids and show kids stuff about it.
Yeah, there's definitely got a lot of legs. It's got a lot of legs, that kind of thinking. So thank you, Joe, for joining us. We're almost out of time, and we could have talked about all this all day long, but I do actually want to just touch on your current streaming setup, because I'm one who loves a good setup at home, a nice home setup. And I want to ask, is your current studio setup that you've got there, did you have that before the whole lockdown thing, or is this a necessity that just came out of current events?
So we discussed this before we went live, so to fill everyone in, as you've probably guessed, anyone who's watching this, I'm currently underneath a bed. It's a double bed because I'm a grown-up. I'm a 30-year-old man. I'm not going to have a single bed. It's a double bed. Come on, let's be reasonable about this. But it's a loft bed, so it's a bunk bed without anything on the bottom, and I've clad the walls with carpet and curtains to dampen the sound, because I do a lot of voiceover work and I have from my home studio. So it's better. But I've wanted this for ages, literally for years. I wanted to do this, and lockdown gave me the time. Basically, it gave me the finally got round to doing it. My old bed was falling apart. I'd had it for years, and it was broken, and like the legs were worn away, and it was uneven and stuff like that. So it finally gave me the time to actually get it and sort it. But I have wanted it for years.
Yeah, when we moved into our last house, I always wanted a vocal booth because I'm a singer. So I just built one out of panels in our bedroom, and then under a shelf, and all sorts of things. But it's good to use the space that you've got the way you have. I mean, exactly.
Well, I always had some form of home studio. I've had a home studio in some form for absolutely ages, for years. I've just had it it used to be sandwiched between my wardrobe and the wall, and I had bits of stuff around to try and dampen sound. And this is just a more structured approach to it, basically. Also, it makes me feel young again. I've basically got a professional blanket fort. And what more could you ask for in life?
I think you're winner, chicken dinner. There you go.
I think I've won lockdown, basically. I built myself a professional blanket fort. What more could you ask for?
All right, Joe. Well, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. I'm just going to run through a couple of notifications that I've got for you guys today. We have our Halloween show is on our YouTube channel, and it's also on this Facebook channel. It'll be 6:00 on Saturday night. There's lots of West End singers coming down, and we're going to put them in front of an animated green screen, and all sorts of things. It's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of costumes, lots of fun, and it's free. We are asking for donations because we need to keep the library open so that we can have all these kids shows come in and do all the things that we have planned for the future. And we also have links to Croydon Live in the description. So if you're out there and you've got a script or an idea that you want to work on, why don't just get in contact with them? What are you going to lose? Nothing. There's nothing there to be lost at all. Remember to check out our website at uppernorwoodlibraryhub.org, as well as if you want to be on this show. It could be for anything. You could have a charity, you could have a local business, you could be a local person that just wants to get online and have a rant about the traffic. That is possible. I might make it freeform Friday. I don't know. We'll see what happens. And that's all we have time for today. Sorry, if you want to be on the show, you need to email me. It's galina.rin@unlt.org, and that's all in the description. It's all in front of you like a wheelbarrow. So thank you, Joe, once again for coming over and joining us.
A wheelbarrow? Sorry.
Sorry, what?
Weird simile. Your choice of wheelbarrow as the metaphor was...
I don't know. It just comes out. Obviously, I'm not the professional presenter here, so it's all good. So
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Good. So yesterday I said that we were going to have Norman Murray on today. I got that wrong. Obviously we had Joe. So Norman is with us tomorrow talking about the Croydon Emerging Writers course that's going on down in Stanley Halls. Amazing. And Eleanor, I think, is with us tomorrow as well. So we shall be back tomorrow at 12. See you then. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.